Freedom Saturdays. Yay! I love today. I love all of the seven freedoms frequency. Let me know which of the seven freedoms that you love. So, in this episode, today's topic, we'll be talking about soul guidance and ease, grace, and flow. It's kind of like that signature that I have as the founder of the Soul Legacy Academy. So, I'm super excited for today. If you've been following along, with these episodes, then thank you. If you are new to me and you are a new subscriber at the Soul Legacy TV Spiritual Business Success Value YouTube channel, or you are listening to this podcast and you're new to me, then welcome. So every single day I go live daily for the Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast, and we journal and we visualize and we do the most amazing things together to give you a practical episode where you can leave setting soul intention. So I want to break down this episode again, as I do every single day. I have my journal. I call it the Soul Legacy Journal. And it's a notebook. It's a blank notebook. You can get it on Amazon. It's 365 days of your spiritual awakening story, a co-created soul path to spiritual alchemy for light workers. So this is what I used going through my spiritual awakening to build my spiritual business and to have more life work balance. So what I am going to do is break this episode down into 7 parts, and I'm shuffling through my notes. So the first part is we're going to rate our vibrational frequency. The second part is we're going to talk about your vision for spirituality using vision boards and visualization. And if you haven't taken my 7-day spiritual business vision board challenge for spiritual entrepreneurs with a movement who want more life work balance, then I will leave the link in the show notes or the description, and the link also in the cards on the YouTube channel. We're going to express gratitude, but in the Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast way. I call it the intentional living codes, the cheers to financial freedom frequency, because that is the purpose of this podcast for me, to raise my vibrational frequency, for you to raise your vibrational frequency, and together we raise the vibration of the collective. The fourth section of this Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast is how we launch our day, how we lead our day, and how we leave our day. That's our soul legacy. So as the founder of the Soul Legacy Academy, I'm very passionate about that. Just really breaking things down and deciding, okay, how are we going to use our hours, our days, our weeks, our months, and our years? So hopefully you'll be inspired. The fifth section of this Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast for spiritual business success is to commit to 3 next steps. So this podcast is to hold you accountable. So next Saturday, when you come back, you will say, I did it. I put those 3 steps in place. Thank you very much. And the universe has guided me, and I felt in ease, grace, and flow, or not. So it's holding you accountable. So the 6th thing we're going to do is play the soul income game, Bank 50K in 50 days challenge. And then I'm going to invite you to do this vibrationally first with me in this journal. And then I'm going to invite you to the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Masterclass Bank 50K in 50 days challenge, so I can share with you how to do that, build a business framework that can actually hold the container of banking 50K in 50 days without you feeling burnt out and without being busy. All right, the 7th thing is the book for today. And the book that I have been listening today is called The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. So I've just got a little snippet, a couple of notes. Every single day I listen to a chapter or 2 or 5, whatever it is, on my walk. I didn't go on my walk today. The weather's a bit miserable in the UK, but I listened to a snippet of The Untethered Soul, and it's one of those books that I've listened to many times over the years, a good few years actually. Somebody had recommended The Untethered Soul, one of my speakers, so it must have been 8 years ago that it was recommended to me. Love it. Let me know if you have read The Untethered Soul. So that is the book which I'm going to be talking about. So every single day I just pick a book that I love, and I relate it to one of the seven freedoms, and I learn and I implement and I just increase my raising my vibration, increasing my knowledge. And so the last thing that I want to leave you with is the card for today. So I've pulled a card for us. I won't show you what it is. It's from the Keepers of the Light. I'll show you at the end. And then I want to invite you to the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network for spiritual entrepreneurs with a movement. It's a YouTube podcasters partnership community where we come together to continue on this conversation. Excuse me. And we connect, we co-create, we collaborate, and we cross-promote. And so the beauty of building a business in that way with fellow spiritual entrepreneurs who, one, have a movement, so they're driven as you are driven for your life purpose-led business, and two, it's sharing each other's work and, you know, coming from a space where there is no competition. We actually can come together as a collective and support each other. I love it. I love the space. I love creating joint vision partnerships. And I paid a lot of money to learn about joint vision partnerships. And I wanted to create a space for my students and for you, my subscribers, and for the members of the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network. So share this out if you know someone who it will help to follow their soul guidance. If you know a fellow spiritual entrepreneur, a service-based business owner, light worker, author, speaker, trainer, healer, medium, who wants to get the gifts out in the world and has got a movement, a fire in their belly, and they want to connect with like minds. That's what the community is for. So do share it out. I'm just going to have a sip of my decaf coffee, and then we'll dive into this episode. All right, so the Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast is all about raising your vibrational frequency. First thing we do is check in with your vibration. So how are you feeling today? If nobody's asked you, how are you feeling? How you're feeling good? Are you feeling like meh? So what I like to say is, am I feeling in soul flow or am I in soul funk? And you can comment. I can see when people are watching. And it's beautiful to add your energy to the conversation, and definitely share this out. Let me know if you find it of value. So are you feeling in soul funk versus soul flow? What do I mean by that? So our rating comes from how in alignment we feel with source, guidance, our higher self. And we know that we're here on this physical plane where soul's having a human experience. So the Spiritual Freedom Saturday, it's, for me, it's a reminder every day, but it's a reminder each week to come back home to that, looking through the world through the lens of my soul. And so it more than getting caught up and pushed and pulled, it's more about, okay, how in alignment do I feel, and am I following that soul guidance, and do I feel like I'm in ease, grace, and flow? So when we rate our vibrational frequency and we say we're in flow or not. And so I like to use what I call my soul legacy wheel, and in my vision board challenge I share what my soul legacy wheel is. And so the soul legacy wheel, we rate between a 1 and 11. You may have been familiar with the wheel of life, where you rate between a 1 and a 10, and you segment your life up and you put it like a pizza wheel, and you draw a little diagram and you say, this area of my life, this area of my life, 0 to 10, how fulfilled do I feel? And that's that. Lots of coaches use it, and that's absolutely fine. I wanted to go beyond that, and I say don't reinvent the wheel, right? But I kind of did with the soul legacy wheel. And the wheel, I explain it really in depth on the vision board challenge. So I was trying not to I was moving my Blue Yeti mic. So I say for the soul legacy wheel, we rate between a 1 and 11. And so every single day we rate between that 1 and 11. So 1, you don't get a 0 because you're breathing. Like, even when you're going through really hard times, you still don't get a 0, you get 1. So rate between a 1 and 11. And 11 is like following your North Star, like guidance, you're on point, like everything's flowing, everything's magic. It's like, it's just like, it's just such a beauty. It's like everything's popping, everything's coming in. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you've got to force things, because when we force things, I like to pause. I don't force things. It doesn't feel like ease, grace, and flow. I know that there's something energetically off. And so, how do you feel? And so, do you feel like you're following your soul guidance in your business? And so, when we think of the seven freedoms frequency, and the seven freedoms are helping you to live an intentional life. So, I call them the intentional living codes, and I have an acronym for each of the days. So, today is spiritual freedom. Saturday, the frequency of your spirituality and your spiritual goals on your vision board. Like, you want to match that level, that vibrational level. So on Mondays, we talk about contribution freedom, contribution freedom Mondays, health freedom Tuesdays, emotional freedom Wednesdays, environmental freedom Thursdays, relationship freedom Fridays, spiritual freedom Saturdays, and financial freedom Sunday. So they're all interlinked. So you have that life work balance. And that for me is success. So when we think of spirituality, what we want to do is then bring spirituality into our finances, bring spirituality into our relationships. And by bring, I mean, just remember that we're spiritual, we're energy, we're souls having a human experience. You know, like when we get caught up, say, like relationships, or we get caught up with money, it's a physical thing, it's energy, right? It's just an energy exchange. And so we're souls having a human experience. When we get so caught up in relationships and all the things, it's like we're souls having a human experience. Like, let's calm down. So when we think of spirituality and our environment and the sacred spaces, and creating a sacred space, and just moving in our environment with ease, grace, and flow, and following that guidance from one environment to the next environment, I love it. And so we want to bring that essence of spirituality into each area of our life, remembering to. And so bringing spirituality into our emotions, knowing that the vibrational frequency that we are emitting because of the emotions, then that is manifesting. Like, that's spirituality at its core, right? And our health, like intuitively, being guided with our health. Like, are you being guided, like, to eat well, sleeping well? Are you waking up in the middle of the night, like I tend to? With our contribution, our spirituality, in terms of our soul is calling us to make a difference in the world. Our soul is calling us to build a life purpose led business. That's what I believe for spiritual entrepreneurs and healers and mediums and coaches. And, you know, so when we think of Spiritual Freedom Saturday, for me, for the Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast, when I touch on the emotions, like in the middle of the week, it's like that's at the core of all of it. And then when we get to spirituality and the essence and the soul guidance, and looking at the world through the lens of your soul, this is an anchor as well, because this will determine your emotions, whether you're pushed and pulled by stuff, right? So how you feel matters, and spiritual freedom and the essence of that, living intentionally, matters, and remembering that. And so when we go for like a spiritual awakening and Dark Night of the Soul, I personally use these tools, as like journaling and visualization, as my spiritual ascension, to support me in moving up the emotional scale. And then I alchemized the process. My spiritual alchemy was, oh, okay, Iona, what did you do? You know, you discovered your calling and your purpose when you went through a spiritual awakening. Like, what did you do? And so this is what I did. And so this is my teaching now. This is a Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast. So that's that alchemy and alchemizing. And part of my spiritual journey was like really going through a spiritual awakening in the Dark Night of the Soul. It wasn't like one dark night. It was like a dark decade of the soul, I say. So, you know, I really wanted to share that. I really wanted to connect with others and hear other people's stories, and like normalize the spiritual awakening, because we're awake, right? But the way that many of us awaken to the fact that, we're humans, but we're souls having a human experience, um, it's rude, I say. So when we come together and we know that actually it's it's painful sometimes for a lot of people, and sometimes it's not. But for me, it was, and now I recognize and I understand. It doesn't mean to say that I like minimize the process, but it's not as shocking to me anymore, because I was like, okay, I get it. So the last spiritual awakening that I went through was a burnout at the beginning of this year. So I was fostering 3 children under 5, and I was like, it caught me off guard, to be fair, because it was like, you're doing so well, you've got 3 children. It's like, yeah, I'm doing so well, but I wasn't doing my soul work in the world, and it was hurting me. It was hurting my soul. So, I came back online and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Although we have different ways for doing our life. Like, hey, love. So we have Robin Knott joining us at the Soul Legacy TV, Spiritual Business Success with Iona YouTube channel. Thank you, love, for joining us. Or joining me. There is no us. We are us now. So how are you doing on this Spiritual Freedom Saturday? So we've done our rating today, so you can always rate your frequency if you choose to, Robin. Just reminding us, I'm reminding myself that the spiritual freedom and knowing that soul guidance and knowing how we move in ease, grace, and flow. And I know that on your channel this week you were talking about that, like that communication, and whether you're in that ease, grace, and flow state while you are communicating with others as being an empath and absorbing other people's energy, and just knowing that actually, even the act of the spiritual protection, as you say, in the energy, not like trying not to feel the feelings, but actually understanding like where our energetic boundaries actually are. And that for me is part of the spiritual freedom and part of moving in ease, grace, and flow as an empath, because we can get pushed and pulled. And so it's remembering that we're souls having a human experience, and we are energy, and we do feel stuff. We kind of feel a lot of stuff a lot of the time. So the next section, so we've done our rating, and we talked about spirituality in terms of each area of our life, and so let's bring in the vision board. So this for me, like I say, I use vision boarding and I use journaling, and I use them in combination. I've used vision boards for years, since 2008-9, and I've used journaling, it's got to be like 10, 12, 13 years, something like that. And so I love it. And so now I just do the video journal. I call it Soul Speaking into Existence. And so the 7-day spiritual business vision board challenge for spiritual entrepreneurs with the movement to have more life work balance and talk about these areas, the 7 freedoms frequency. It's just a way to really visualize what you want to experience. And so I was listening to a video, I think it's Dolores Cannon, something like that. And she was talking about manifesting, basically, and putting in your order to the universe, your cosmic order. But you've got to be specific and write things down in detail. And the universe only knows now. The universe only knows present tense. And so when we are wanting to manifest and experience life in a certain way, one, we don't get attached to the outcome, because it could be this or something better. Excuse me. But that's part of the spiritual experience, knowing that we are manifesting and we are creating. And you'd mentioned this on your live, Robin, with the manifesting, and like the manifesting isn't just like all of the great stuff, but look at what I'm manifesting. It's like, yeah, when you're in funk, you're still manifesting that too. So there is that. Robin says Spiritual Freedom Saturday, so SFS. For short, for an abbreviation, if you don't want to write it all out, equals 7. So mine was 11. And so Robin says, I can feel that pressure we feel before we expand. That's huge. I love that feeling. I do. I love that feeling. Yeah, and so let me know if you resonate with that. What Robin's saying on the YouTube, no, on Facebook actually, in the Facebook comments, because I'm streaming this out on the YouTube channel, on podcast platforms, etc. Um, when we have like what seems like almost like a failure, as Think and Grow Rich, as Napoleon Hill says, or something that dips, or something that is like feels negative, and it's like, oh, I'm done, kind of thing. Like, I don't want to do this, and then it's like, oh, there's a breakthrough coming. Like there's I wouldn't say it's necessarily a resistance, but there's just a different feeling, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, you catapulted. It's a really beautiful. Now, I wouldn't say beautiful. It's a confusing time actually for me. Robin says the process doesn't always feel good though. LOL. Yeah, Robin had put that in the comment, and I hadn't read it, Robin. And then, yeah, you said the same thing. Robin says, for some reason, my keyboard freezes on my phone when I try and comment on YouTube. Does it? Okay, weird. Were you on YouTube before? Or are you just on Facebook? Oh, okay. For some reason, my keyboard freezes. Oh, weird. So that's cool. So it's a good job that we're streaming it out. I keep saying we. So it's just Soul, me and Soul, streaming out. So the vision board, if you haven't done the vision board challenge, I invite you to. It's 7 days, it's free, and it's lit. So you can be very clear on what it is that you want to experience, detail that down, and put your order into the universe. And in order for it to manifest, and before it manifests, you've got to feel it. And so there's plenty of resources that you could be guided to hear that. You know, I didn't make it up, I didn't make the universal laws up, but you know, it works. And sometimes in the spiritual community, we forget. We tell everybody else out there, like, this is what you do this, do that. And we forget to apply our own stuff, walk your own talk, right? Practice what you preach. And it's like, oh, well, what is the process of manifestation again? It's like, we know. Um, yeah, we know. I know you know, but it helps you to get even deeper clarity. Robin says, I tried to comment with my phone, excuse me, on the replay and the spiritual awakening videos. So I watched on my phone and went back to comment when I was on my laptop. Really? Oh, strange. So for those of you who don't know, Robin is talking about the spiritual awakening videos and is my spiritual awakening story. The summit, the YouTube summit and the YouTube podcast, where I interview fellow soul guided influencers on their spiritual awakening story. And again, I bring the spirituality into business and I ask them to share, you know, their journey, because when we're inspired by other people's journey, it inspires us to keep going and to understand that everything does happen to serve us. And when we travel our soul path, there's going to be bumps along the road, but it's okay. We'll get to the other side. Okay, weird. But so that summit was divinely guided to me, downloaded, and yeah, I'd be a crazy lady if it was just the humanness. It was definitely soul, and it took a long time in the making, but every step of the way I was guided to do something a little bit different, guided to do something that hopefully you'll love and you'll experience. So again, at the Soul Legacy TV, Spiritual Business Success for Iona, the YouTube channel, and at the podcast, you'll see episodes. I've yet to upload the episode for the interviews, but you'll see the playlists and more guests are on, and Robin's on next week. Next Wednesday, we go live at 9 a.m., 3 p.m., and 9 p.m. UK time on the 2 middle Wednesdays of the month. Binge watch Wednesdays, because that was the habit that I had on YouTube. So I was like, well, let me just make this easier for people. So yeah. All right. So vision board. Do your vision board. My daughter's just sent me an image. I think she got her eyelashes done today. Robin says, ooh, I was super excited. Robin, are you more excited now that you've seen what other people's stories are, because sometimes, you know, and this is not just you, just anyone, you know, sometimes we don't connect our own dots, or like we overcomplicate the whole process, or we miss stuff. And when we get it, clear on, okay, let me look back on the dot, because it changes every time we look back anyway. But has it made a difference to, like, oh, I can do that. I can share my story as part of my teachings. Um, and I have another 7-day challenge for spiritual entrepreneurs with a movement. If you have a movement, I have a movement marketing media kit challenge, the MMMK. And so that supports you in sharing your spiritual awakening story globally. Um, but it's only when you go through your spiritual awakening, then you go through your spiritual ascension and you alchemize it. In my opinion, should you go out there and share your spiritual awakening story? Because if you share it, as one of my guests said, Brenda, if you share it and you're in that vulnerable position, you can do more harm than good to yourself and to the people that you're watching, because it's just like the energy is off. All right, so that's the vision board. The next piece is gratitude, right? Everybody loves gratitude. We do. We love gratitude. And the way that we share our gratitude is this seven freedoms frequency way, right? So living intentionally. So we're going to bring the cheers to financial freedom frequency into our gratitude. Robin says, hang on, it helps to watch others and get the feel for the process of sharing, since that's new for me. I haven't shared it before, just bits, and many of us haven't shared it, and many of us haven't. And so I have the co-author book series for the Soul Legacy Journal. This is the companion notebook. Spiritual Awakening Stories of 365, a co-authored soul path to spiritual alchemy. So if you want to share your spiritual awakening story and you are one of my students, we can see if you're a soul match for that. So email submissions@soullegacyacademy.com. And so sharing, and we do, and we share bits, but when we actually take time and look at the timeline, we actually connect our own dots, and it's freeing. It's super freeing, because it is a story. It's just chapters of our life that has got us to where we are, and there'll be more along the way, to get us, you know, expressing our soul's mission and not taking it so personally. Like when we look at it through the soul lens, we detach a little bit. You know, so some people are sharing really raw stuff, that you know, things that have happened that is like not raw, like in the sense it's triggering, but just stuff that they've gone through. Excuse me. And when we go through it, it is traumatic, but hopefully we can heal. And so when we're on that healing journey, we can turn back and share it. And so when I did the co-author book series, a lot of my co-authors, they probably were not ready to share, or they didn't understand the process of sharing. And that's why I want to do the summit as well, to inspire others to share and to be safe in sharing, and to know that actually, people talk about telling your story in business, and our spiritual awakening story is a way for us to connect soul to soul with our soul clients. So in that, if you are going through a spiritual awakening, sometimes it might be hard to express gratitude. It was for me. When my son passed, I've been sharing this over the last few episodes. I didn't feel like saying I'm grateful for anything. Like, no, not at all. I really didn't. And it wasn't, I wasn't grateful for me or my own life or my daughter, but I just didn't feel in the space of expressing gratitude, you know, saying it out loud and holding a stone. Like at those times in our lives, like, you know, it's okay. It's okay. But if you can, I'd love you to do this with me. So I have my gratitude stone rock. You can grab a stone or rock or crystal or whatever it is. So it just feels a little bit more tangible, and you have that energy, and you focus, and, you know, lock that energy in. So I say the way that I do gratitude, and you might do it a little bit differently, but this is the way that we do it on the Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast. I say I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate. So I talk about this every single day. I explain it, because what I realize is I share so much. People are like, what? No. And so we say, I'm happy because that's where we want to be. We want to be happy in life. Like, there are so many people that I say, are you happy? And they say no. And it's not even that they say no in this moment. They're just not happy. Like, not happy, can't see themselves being happy, just not happy. And I'm like, wow, I was happy before my son passed, and I've gone through that dark night of the soul, and I am happy. No, I'm not as happy as I would be with, if my son was here. Of course I'm not, but I am happy. And so, to be able to find that happiness this is how I've done it. You tell yourself it's a decision. Happiness is a decision. So I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate. So those are the higher vibrations. But sometimes when we just say gratitude, excuse me, we forget to be happy and we're thinking of the things that we lack rather than like truly being grateful. So we're emitting a different vibration than what we think we are. There's stuff underneath it. And so appreciation, love, joy, empowerment, freedom, knowledge are the highest vibration. So we want to vibrate at that. So that's the purpose of the Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast. Each section is to support you and give you a little bit of perspective on the theme for the day, which is spiritual freedom today. So the way that I express gratitude when you don't feel like you've got something to be grateful for in that moment, I say something in the past, something in the present, or something in the predicted future on our vision board, right? That we can express gratitude because we want to say thank you for the things that are yet to manifest anyway. So this is a perfect opportunity to what I call soul speaker them into existence. So feel free to do it with me. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to bring the seven freedoms into this. So the acronym again is C for contribution freedom on Mondays, H for health freedom on Tuesdays, E for emotional freedom on Wednesdays, the second E for environmental freedom on Thursdays, relationship freedom is the R on Fridays, spiritual freedom, which is today on Saturday, and financial freedom on Sunday. So can you think of 7 things to be grateful for? And again, journal them if you want to. And I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate. So for contribution, I'm happy and I'm grateful and I really appreciate all of the contribution that I've been able to make in the past, very much so in the past. So I was watching a training on Facebook groups and that I was doing, that I'd done a few years ago, 2021, 2 years ago. And I was like, and I came off Facebook. I was like, oh, I'm kind of done with that platform. Sorry, Facebook. And coming off, I was able to learn about YouTube and learn about podcasting and learning about doing my courses and doing all the things, solidifying everything that I wanted to do and fostering, just having some downtime. And when I went back to look at that training, I was like, oh, wow, I'm about to redo it. And I was like, oh, wow. So Facebook's always been the place that I've just been able to create magic on. And to be fair, I was like, oh, why are you changing it? Robin says, got us this mum, so much love. Oh, thank you, love. Thank you for hopping on with me. And I was like, why are you changing it? Like, I don't appreciate it. So I came off and I'm on again. And it was really refreshing to have the ease and the understanding and to be taught by myself and by like my own teachings. I was like, oh girl, yes, it's going to be lit. So I'm about to do my own Bank 50K in 50 days challenge and use my own teachings. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. So Ramona and I are going to be up to some amazing stuff. So I'm really happy and grateful for that contribution, my own contribution, my own teachings. I'm really excited about it. I'm happy and I'm grateful. I appreciate in terms of my health. Oh gosh, what am I happy and grateful for my health? For the bed that I have, it is amazing, and I sleep so well, so well. I'm really happy and grateful and really appreciate the countless hours of sleep that I get. I just feel really well rested. The bed is comfy, and if you know anything about me, over the last year when I was fostering, 3 children under 5, twins, right? My great niece and nephews. And we had a 3-bedroom house. So I've since given up the house and decided to become a spiritual digital nomad and travel. So this is my journey, right? And so I was sleeping, right? So we had 3 bedrooms. So my daughter had my bedroom. I had my office, which was combined, and the 3 children had the really, really, really big bedroom, which was my daughter's. So I was sleeping on the sofa bed. I bought a new one and did out my office. So it was nice, but it wasn't comfortable. Like it had a dip in the middle and all things. It was like supposed to be a long-term thing that you sleep on. So it's all right for a little while. And then like towards the end, I was like, I literally no, just no. So I'm really happy and grateful and appreciate. And that's what I mean by the gratitude. Sometimes it makes you think of the contrast of what you didn't have. So sometimes you've got to be mindful of not vibrating at that frequency. So I'm super happy and super grateful and really appreciate having a great night's sleep and just the most comfiest bed that I've ever slept in. And so that work-life balance, and if you know anything about sleep, it's important, right, for your health. So I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate emotional freedom. Oh, let me see. Just have a sip of coffee, decaf coffee. Emotions. I'm happy and I'm grateful and I really appreciate not getting sucked into other people's emotions. That's not like a gratitude in the okay. Being aware of my own emotional scale and yeah, just being aware of my own emotions on the emotional freedom scale and vibing and having the awareness of where I'm vibing. Happy and grateful for knowing about the emotional freedom scale because it helps me out a lot. I learned my attachment style for relationships, and I have a secure attachment style, and I didn't know that. And I, in that personality kind of type or that attachment style, you notice your own and how you deal with your emotions, etc., and communication, and you notice other people's. And I'm like, oh, I kind of thought that. So I'm really happy and grateful that my niece sent me that today. So divinely guided to that. Happy and grateful and appreciate what environment, the Facebook environment, actually. Really happy and grateful. Shout out to you, Facebook. Thank you. I'm really happy and great because I get to connect with a lot of people on the socials, and Facebook has been one of the platforms that has, and I really give it a hard time. So I'm just going to love up on Facebook for a while, and I have given it a hard time. So I'm going to love up on not all the politics and all the things behind it, but just it's a platform where we can connect with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. So I'm grateful for that. The online space. I'm happy and grateful and appreciate relationships. I had a really long, lovely conversation with my niece today, the one that rang me in the middle of the podcast on Tuesday. She's out in Turkey, so she was sharing some health stuff, and we talked about all sorts. We talked about relationships. We talked about that's the one that when I read throughout the week, I read the card that she had. That she'd written me, and while she's out actually there, what's going on in the UK with possibly the car that I'd given her at the airport is like, oh wow, so I'm happy and grateful that she's safe and sound. I'm happy and grateful for spiritual freedom. I'm happy and grateful for the Keepers of the Light deck from Calgary. I think it's really nice to just touch base and just spread a little light. So I'll read the card at the end of this episode. For finances, I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate the offer of my friend to buy a Chinese today. I didn't have one, but because I'd eaten. And she got McDonald's and she shared the chips with me. I'm like, oh, thanks. So I'm happy and grateful and appreciate that. When you want something and you want like a takeout, or you want whatever, and it's there. It's readily available, if you have the finances for it. So I'm happy and grateful for that. So that is the Seven Freedoms frequency gratitude. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I call it soul speaking into existence. It's just noticing what's going on in your day, your week, and saying, you're happy and you're grateful for all of the things. I'm really happy and grateful when I say for the Facebook and online, just to connect with people. It's just beautiful. So the next section of this podcast is how we launch our day, lead our day, and leave our day. So in terms of spirituality, we've talked about the seven freedoms all this week. So if you haven't watched any of them, listened to any of the episodes, you can go back and do share this out for somebody who needs to hear it. And so we talked about contribution, how you want to launch your day, lead your day, and leave your day in terms of your life purpose led driven business. If you're a spiritual entrepreneur, a service-based business owner, a healer, a light worker, you've got work to do in the world. How are you fitting that in with your day? We've all got 24 hours in a day, right? How are you fitting it in with your day, your week, your month, your year? What are those goals on your vision board? In terms of your health, again, how are you launching, leading, and leaving your day? Putting your health as a priority. How for emotions, and you'll notice when you're not. So for me, with the weather, my health, I haven't been out, or I've got late when I was doing the summit and I haven't done the exercises. You'll notice when you're dropping off, so you can put yourself back on track and find that healthy balance. For what's next? Launching your day for your environment, launching your day for your relationships, and then for your spiritual freedom. So say if you've got I don't know, incense or something, or you are pulling a card, or you are meditating, or you've got a cushion that you go to, or you whatever it is, where are you going to bring your spiritual rituals and routines into your day? Do you have them consistently in every day? Is it is for me, usually the people that I work with, spirituality, they've got it down. They're yeah, great, but then they forget to bring the spiritual essence into each area of their life. So let me know if you've got it down. You're yeah, of course, Iona, I do all the things. And then sometimes we forget, the spiritual rituals and routines that really helped us out. And do you visualize every single day? Make sure you're doing that and journaling. And finances, we'll talk about tomorrow, launching your day and leading your day and leaving your day, where that requires finances. So the next step is to commit to 3 things throughout between this Saturday and next Saturday. So to live more intentionally in terms of your spiritual freedom. So say if you're already meditating every single day or every other day or whatever it is, write that down, because that counts as your spiritual freedom. But if you want to include something else, then, and you are not, write that down, where it goes in your day and how many times in the week that you plan to do that thing. And so then you are leading your day, leaving your day, and leaving your day more intentionally. And it's called intentional living. All right. This is what we're doing. We've got the Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast to help us live more intentionally. And again, do comment, do let me know if you've seen me before on the Seven Freedoms Frequency, if you've listened before, if you found value. Because I see when certain people are watching, and it's nice to have that engagement and know that I'm here for you every single day. Will you come back? Are you subscribed to the channel? As it was really helpful for me to know, because sometimes you're the message isn't getting out there, but I can see that it is, right? So the next thing that we want to do is play the soul income game, and let me know if you're going to do the Bank 50k in 50 days challenge, and if you're freaked out by the Bank 50k in 50 days challenge. So this journal is my soul legacy journal. It's a notebook, and I call it 365 Days of Your Spiritual Awakening Story. So a co-created soul path to spiritual alchemy for light workers. It's a magical, special journal. And the journal gives you £1,000, dollars, or euros every single day. And I tell you what, at one point, just watching me, right? At one point, I had my ex-husband. He's like, "Oh, he's my ex now, but how's Barry? How's so and so?" And I'm like, "Dude, how do you know?" He's like, "Yeah, I've watched you." I was like, "Were you watching me? Were you watching me live, or were you watching?" And then whoever that was is gone. Yeah, comment. Don't be passive in just scrolling into Facebook. And if that was my ex-husband, inbox me and let me know. Because when you get that intuitive, like get that intuitive nudge, it's like what? Like people are watching you. Like there's too many people on social media just consuming and absorbing stuff. We want to be that observer and be in observer mode. So I don't encourage it. So there you go. So the soul income game, I find that really funny. The soul income game is, and if you are in business and you do that, expect other people to do that to you. Like, bring the energy, I will call you guys out. So the soul income game, the Bank 50K in 50 Days Challenge. This is for you as a subscriber, as a listener, but also for my students and also for myself. So we do this vibrationally. So the Soul Legacy Journal gives you £1,000, dollars or euros every single day. And we spend it freely on all of the things that are on our vision board. So the first thing that we do, if there's rules, we tithe 10% to a worthy cause, and my worthy cause is called Cruise. No, it's not. My worthy cause is called Compassionate Friends. It is an organisation that I will volunteer for bereaved parents because I am one. And so I dedicate my work to my son. And so that helps me keep going, right? And so it's a really worthy cause for me. What is your worthy cause? Let me know in the comments, right? And so we spend the vibrational money voucher. We don't get to save because we don't get to hoard. We've got savings. Just visualize that. Just feel that energy. And we don't get to pay bills because they're all taken care of. You've got financial freedom. So this is your money to buy whatever it is on your vision board and not feel lack. Because when we create a vision board and it's so grandiose and it's so far removed from what it is that we believe that we can manifest, that's why the vision board process and the manifesting, but things that we actually want to experience do not work. And we think that the law of attraction doesn't work, although we know it does. There's times when we're like, yeah, the law of attraction doesn't work. It's not working for me. But then we're like, and then we'll talk to somebody else who doesn't believe in it and say, absolutely, it works. Like we're conflicted sometimes. So we want to spend our vibrational money voucher in the Bank 50K in 50 Days Challenge, right? And let me know what you're spending it on. Write it in your journal. If you don't feel like you've got time a single day, definitely tithe. But if you don't feel like you've got time to sit down and spend this about £900, dollars or euros, wherever you are in the world, your currency, then you can carry the money over to the next day and make a bigger purchase. But you can only carry it over to Financial Freedom Sunday. And on Financial Freedom Sunday, I will share tomorrow what I will share. I will share what I spend my vibrational money voucher on. So I like to make bigger purchases. I like to just like go all the way through the 6,300 because I think it's just like pretty cool. And when we've been breaking our vibrational frequency all week between a 1 and 11, we're going to add up our scores on Sunday. So we can score between 7 and 77. I think I said 1 and 77 on one of the episodes, but it isn't. You get one each day and then up to the maximum of 77. So we know, and then we'll look back throughout the week and see where we've been dipping and see what needs most of our attention. Isn't that pretty cool? Do you know a podcast that actually walks you through living intentionally and visualizing and really taking care of you? I do not. And so I wanted to create one. You're welcome. All right, so that's the soul income game. And then I want to invite you to the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Masterclass, the Bank 50K in 50 Days Challenge, where I'll teach you to speak to, serve, and sign up your high-paying one-to-many soul clients on video. Yay! You're welcome again. We have bonuses. I have the Bank 50K in 50 Days Challenge. As homework, I have a free chapter of my book. My book is called The Spiritual YouTuber from Scratch, a soul-guided influencer's compass to leverage your Lightwork and Lifestyle on YouTube. And that's what we're doing right now. How cool is that? So that is that. Okay. The book for today was The Untethered Soul, right? And then I'll pull the card for today. So the book, if you've ever heard of The Untethered Soul, it's brilliant. I love it. I've listened to it many, 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 many times over, oh gosh, I think the last 5 years, 6 years. And so in it, the famous quote by, what is it, the Shakespeare quote, to thy own self be true. That's what it started with. And one of my guests was talking about this, like taking the stage, and she quotes this quote. And so in the book, his Michael A. Singer is bringing our attention to which self, because we have versions of self. We also have ego and soul. And so it is just such a beautiful book. And he says, when we're confused about what to listen to, and how to be in touch with ourselves when we feel like we've lost ourselves, like we feel like we've lost our way a little bit, he said, you're the own expert of you, and you're the expert of knowing how you are experiencing you and how you are experiencing life, and you are intuitively guided when we just listen. And so he says we just have to sort ourselves out a little bit, and whatever we're experiencing mirrors is, we've got that mirror coming back to ourselves to let us know, like, oh. And for me, it's noticing whether I'm in ease, grace and flow or not. And when I'm not, I'm like, oh, there's something going on. Wait a second, I'm not sure what happened there, and I don't know how long that happened for, but I was talking about the unsevered soul. So I want to leave you with this, and apologies, an invitation to the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network. So SBYN, we have a monthly call. It's a free networking call. It's 90 minutes, and I'm going to pull a card actually, and then we come together to co-create and collaborate and cross-promote and connect. And I have breakout rooms, and we can get together and we can share the books that we've been reading and what's helped us, and share the journey and the process, and hold space for each other, and find a guest and be a guest for our platforms, our author and authority platforms. It's pretty cool. It's free. So this is the card for today from The Keepers of the Light by Carl Gray. It's Melchizedek, and it says higher learning. So I shuffled my cards and I said, it's Spiritual Freedom Saturday. Where are we going to go? Higher learning. You have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further your progress. So that's for me, and that's for you. I will wrap this episode up of the Seven Freedoms Frequency. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to the Soul Legacy TV Spiritual Business Success Way on a YouTube channel, and the link is in the show notes. And if you want to come to that monthly call, the link is in the show notes. If you want to join me on my 7-day annual Spiritual Business Vision Board Challenge, the replays are down below. But I also go live. On the second week in December at 7:30 p.m. UK time, so Monday to Sunday. So you can do that live with me. You can do it on the replay, and you can do it live with me. There is videos in the playlist for you to click to get notified of when I do go live for that. So I absolutely love it. So I would love for you to join me on those, take those next steps to visualizing. I do have a Seven Freedoms Frequency call-in gym. It's a 2-hour monthly coaching call for my students. So if you are watching me in the Soul Legacy Academy, and you are a boot camper, 12-week boot camper or 12-month masterminder, get on the call. All right, so that is it for this episode. I love you. I shall speak to you soon. Big love. Take care.